And we're live. How we doing, gentlemen?
Doing good. Happy week 5, gents. Off to a okay start so far. I got the Jags up 11-7 here. Looks like they're in position to put up some more points.
Oh, God, that's the last thing we needed today. We did not need the Bills to start this poorly. That is bad for my mental health this early on a Sunday. Oh, God.
How's your mental health today, Dave? How are we doing?
Well, I'm just in embrace the suck mode with the Giants. So thank God for fantasy football. And we'll see a decent game here. Usually these London games are a little bit lower scoring. And last week and this week were pretty good. The Jags
let's go. Let's go.
That guy jinxed the Jags there.
Bills.
Yeah, nice.
Still making plays down.
Sorry about that, Jacksonville.
Let's go. There we go. That's what we needed. I'm feeling better now headed into the half. All right. Whew. Who here was a victim of a Justin Fields and DJ Moore Thursday night?
One stack against me.
Oh my God! Somebody had the stack against you.
Yeah. It's like 90-40 something. The score. It was in Scott Fishbowl. Shout out JB Chow. He posted it on Twitter. I saw he posted the score. I am his opponent, and he's up like 96, I think, to 45.
Well, you got 45 out of somebody. Who'd you get a big night on Thursday?
I think it was Logan Thomas and somebody else. I can't remember who.
Logan Thomas and Sam Howell.
Not Sam Howell.
Not Sam Howell.
I wish.
Yeah, I did start Logan Thomas this week. I started him over Kyle Pitts, but
nice.
I also faced a stack. I was down 110.73 to 0 after Thursday night in Scott Fish.
Woo.
He had Fields, Dotson, and Moore.
That's just brutal.
That's tough. And, that will come into, some effect into the decision making for, who you're going to start. It puts you in the position to, chase the highest ceilings possible. Those guys with just a safe floor, will at least get you those 6 or 7 points. When you're coming to your lineup decisions, they're probably looking a little less likely now to be entered in your lineups.
For sure.
All right. Well, you guys want to dive into some starter sit questions? Anything on your mind? Anything that you've seen in the streets?
Well, I mean, Scott Fish has a great thread going on. Unless anyone has anything else,
let's get going until somebody jumps in.
All right. So the first one, Tyjae Spears or Matt Breida, we'll say 0.5 PPR. It does look like Saquon is trending to be out. Projections on Sleeper are 0.0.
Spears, or who is the other one?
Matt Breida.
Oh, God, that's just
Spears. I guess Matt Breida?
No, you're going to go Spears just because Spears has been at a 50% snap share. He's been heavily involved in the passing game, getting that consistent work. They're making that effort to get him involved. And sure, Matt Breida is going to get the work, but Matt Breida is just awful. Like, he is terrible. The Giants need to address their backup running back situation, and they continue to not to every week. So I just think Tyjae Spears has the upside that you're going to need because Matt Breida doesn't even give you a floor. Your floor for both of these guys is like 2. So go with the higher.
I mean, Breida's gotten 10 points 2 weeks in a row as far as a floor.
Yeah. As far as like between the two, who I think is more likely to score a random touchdown, because even if they get into the red zone, they're not going to give Tyjae Spears the ball over Derrick Henry. Like, so you're going to need Tyjae to take one to the house. Like, he's going to have to make a couple of big plays on his own. Breida, again, I just feel like he'll have a safer floor. I mean, so even if Barkley is back, then, he could, I still feel like he could get touches.
Yeah. If Barkley's in, then it changes my mind, but I'm going to go with Breida. Dump off passes, things like that. But
what if they get down by 50? It's the Dolphins.
They're probably going to be down by 50, and so
right. So he'll have a role.
Yeah, he's like I said, he's offered a pretty safe floor the last couple weeks. He has gotten into the end zone. He's gotten the passing work. I'm sticking with Breida on that one. The next question we got right here from Shane. Pickens or Flowers? Shane, is it PPR? Is it half point PPR? Is this for your team or for the wifey this week?
I go Zay Flowers.
I mean,
Yeah, I'm also going
go ahead,
Flowers.
Dave. So I guess my challenge here is Odell Beckham's back, and that's going to cut into Zay Flowers' workload a little bit, and Flowers has been consistently involved week in and week out. But when you look at it, just as you're going through, he's had 10 targets twice. He'll do a ton with those targets. And, I think with Odell Beckham back, I think they're going to look to get OBJ more involved. Pickens just has that bigger play right now has a bigger playability because, that for whatever reason, that Steelers defense can stretch things a little bit. He had the bigger upside. He has some bigger play potential than Zay Flowers right now. I like Pickens at this point.
Yeah,
I'm not
it is full
high
point
on it.
It is full point PPR. He did put that in there if that changes anything for anybody.
No, it's really close between the two. I'm just chasing maybe a little bit more upside with a better quarterback. I don't trust Kenny Pickett to just be amazing. We've seen Pickens come down in the end zone. I think at least was it once? Did he get his second touchdown?
Yeah, Pickens has one touchdown on the year. Flowers.
I know he has. Okay, so he just has the one. I don't know if I had missed another one, but even in that week where he scored a touchdown, I think he only had like 4 catches on 10 targets, but he still had over 100 receiving yards. It's just a little bit more in the boom or bust category. And I'll chase. And in this situation, I will chase a safer floor between the two. I like Zay Flowers playing alongside Lamar Jackson, and maybe that OBJ, comeback opens up things more for Flowers. In an offense where they are still trying to pass the ball a little bit more.
Do we think Aaron Jones is a go tomorrow night?
Just depends on your other options. It sounds like he's going to play.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone noticed this, but did it seem like Aaron Jones was just getting blown up every single time he touched the ball against Detroit? Like he had one where he the feet he did a full cartwheel, then on the sideline he didn't look right. Like he was almost like defenseless out there, but he's been known to get banged up, and hamstring injuries are tough. I'm going to avoid it if I can. I got him as a back end RB2 just to be safe, but if he goes, I'm probably gonna avoid him this week just because I'm nervous about it. And if he does play, he could put up a dud like last time.
Yeah, it's all going to depend on your options. I mean, if it's between him and Ken Gainwell, I'll probably lean Aaron Jones. Like if you have to try to chase some upside, like if you play DJ Moore and he's going to give it a go, I still don't hate it. And he's been getting on the field in a limited basis and back-to-back weeks. So yeah, he's definitely still nursing an injury. But if he's if they're saying he's going to be a full go, then I don't hate giving him a start.
All right, next question.
Stevenson, Pickens, Sanders, half-point PPR.
1 or 2?
I think it's 1.
Just pick one.
That's tough. I do not like those running backs.
No,
I do not like those running backs. I will say Pickens for all the reasons that Adam was hyping him up. I mean, all good points. I think in this scenario, it's a better pick. I just don't trust either of these running backs right now.
No, I really don't trust Stevenson, especially given as he's back as soon as he's, especially since he's banged up, and they're they're gonna go to Zeke again. They've been going to Zeke early and often, and Sanders, after a good week 1, has looked like exactly who we thought he was down the stretch. He's been limited. He hasn't been elusive. It looks like Philadelphia, was right to move off of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a different game when you're running behind the offensive line of the Philadelphia Eagles and the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, exactly.
Zay Flowers or Breece Hall? I believe it was PPR, but it didn't say.
It is PPR. Yep.
It is PPR.
Breece Hall.
I'm going Breece Hall. I think Breece breaks out this week. He hits Denver Broncos. I did a little advice column on Fantasy Pros, and Breece Hall was my guy.
Do 3 seconds of research. The Broncos have allowed the most fantasy points to the running back position. It's a slam dunk.
And Breece Hall, week 5, coming back off that knee injury, looking like he's ready to go, firing on all cylinders, moving.
No snap count restraint.
Yeah, trust him to have a big game here against a god awful Broncos.
Question specifically for Adam: Why do the Buffalo Bills hate Dalton Kincaid?
Why do the Buffalo Bills hate Dalton Kincaid? It's not that they hate Dalton Kincaid. It's that he's on pace for a top 5 all-time rookie tight end season. And yeah, he's
What?
on pace for a really good rookie tight end season.
Are you talking about Sam Laporta? Who are you talking
No,
about?
Dalton Kincaid is too. That's how low the bar is for rookie tight ends. Just keep that in mind. Rookie tight ends don't come in and do big things. Okay. Dalton Kincaid's playing okay. He's not playing terribly. It's not that they hate him. It's that this offense is still getting settled and he's a rookie and they're trying to figure everything out still. I don't think they hate him. I mean, they use him plenty game out. He's got 15 catches through 4 games. That's a really good usage rate for any player, particularly a rookie tight end. And his snap percentages are over 50%. I don't think they hate him. I just think the offense is still finding how it's going to fully work.
Jonnu
Smith has 15 catches.
Jonnu Smith has had a good year.
He's not a rookie.
And he's also not a rookie.
Addison, Stevenson, Flowers, or Palmer. Go look up Mike Ditka's rookie year, and that's a good rookie year right there.
It is the number 1 rookie year for a tight end.
Yeah. Pick 2, PPR, Addison, Stevenson, Flowers, Palmer. Which Palmer is this?
I'm assuming Josh.
Josh is out. It's a bye week.
Mm.
I'm not picking him.
Which Palmer would it be?
The one in Tampa?
Trey Palmer, yeah. Oh, we did this last week, and then I talked crap about him. He scored a touchdown. So it might be Trey Palmer. Trey Palmer. No, Tampa Bay. Yeah, Tampa Bay's playing.
I'm ruling out Stevenson off the jump because he's banged up, and I think they're going to go back to more Zeke Elliott. They seem to like him. They paid him for. I mean, you don't pay a guy and then not use him. And Bill Belichick hates fantasy running backs.
Yeah, I like Flowers and Addison here.
Yep, Addison and Flowers.
I'm just trying to talk myself into Addison after I've been just so hurt by him the past 2 weeks and got eliminated from guillotine on the strength of like 7 points over the last 2 from Addison. Yeah. When your guillotine league gets eliminated and then the total fab spend is more than the total fab you're allocated individually for the season, you built a good team. You just got screwed by your bad luck. So, but it's got to be Addison and Pickens, not even a question.
Yeah. Addison and Flowers.
Mm-hmm.
Devonta Smith or Adam Thielen, 0.5 PPR.
I still got to go Devonta, right? I mean, I think that's a stretch. I like Adam Thielen, but man, my goodness.
Who else are you starting over these guys? That's my question. Like, that's what I want to know. Because
good problems to have, I guess.
I can't think of a lot of receivers I'd rather start over both of these guys. So who are you starting over them is my question.
Yeah, especially on bye weeks too. I don't know. That's
with
tough.
Bye weeks rolling and everything. I want to start both of these guys. I don't want to sit one of them.
No, I think in like the majority of leagues, if you have both of these guys, like you don't have the roster utility to not start both of them.
Well, and I guess I can tell you what the results are. So 84% agree with you with Smith. And as far as the question earlier about Stevenson, Pickens, Sanders, 48% are saying Stevenson, 17% Pickens, 35% Sanders. So they're going with the running backs. We went with Pickens. And then the first question, Burrito is 55-45 over Tajay Spears. Here's one, flex PPR, Madison, Nico Collins, or Christian Watson.
Collins.
Nico Collins all day. Not even a question.
Yeah, that one's easy.
And I want to back this up to the Thielen and Devonta Smith thing for a second. Do you guys know who has more fantasy points through 4 weeks?
It's Thielen for sure.
It's
Thielen. I mean, the targets are there, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't want to overreact to that. Like, Devonta Smith is still in a top 2 offense in the league. Like, I respect that. I'm starting Thielen in a lot of spots, but again, like that's an overreaction still to the start of the season. Like Devonta Smith, a better talent and a better offense. Like it's trusting the process a little bit.
Yeah, it's and in full point PPR, it's nice to have Thielen, but as far as like a ceiling, Smith is a guy that can have 2 touchdowns. Thielen, his yards per Yards per attempt or yards per target are down. He's just getting really short targets and just he's like a tight end. Sit one, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Puka Nacua, Nico Collins.
These people are just making up teams at this point.
That's just a
what is the question? What is the question?
Sit 4 top 10 receiver. Sit Jefferson, Lamb, Nacua, or Collins.
No, that's ridiculous. Stop.
It's just a humble brag.
That's not even a real question.
I mean,
so
that's not a real question.
Guillotine decision: Russell Wilson against the Jets or Josh Dobbs against the Bengals?
Josh Dobbs. That might be an overreaction answer, but run the numbers. Like, that's a situation where I'm just going to go with the team that's always going to be playing from behind. There's always going to be a narrative or game script, I should say, for them to have to, pressure the ball down the field. Like, they're going to be playing from behind, period.
More Jamie. We got A-Chain, Mostert, Kyron, Swift, Montgomery need to play 3. I'm going to sit Mostert and Kyron here. Mostert just seems to be cooling off, and Kyron's banged up against Philly. What are your guys' thoughts?
Well, Swift and Monty are the must starts.
Of course. Yeah, not even a question.
And then Kyrene has a questionable matchup. The Philly run defense has been good. And then you're picking your poison with the Miami running backs. I think it's A-Chan, Swift, and Monty.
Yep.
I think that's where I'm going.
I think I'm going to go Mostert just because the volume chain. I'd rather have the consistent work that he's getting. I just don't think A-Chain's going to see that consistent work game in and game out. And so give me the consistent work, but you're flipping the coin with the Miami running backs. Not even a question. And you're locking in Smith and Montgomery.
I like Ferguson a lot. But that's tough.
Yeah,
I don't think I can say Goddard.
A lot tougher decision than we thought it would be in August.
Goddard's had that slow start, and that's the thing that I just does.
But
when is the game that he gets out of the funk?
But they like to do that though. Like, after poor performances, they like to go back to these guys. Like, I'm expecting a bigger day this week for Devonta Smith and Dallas Goedert because they had down weeks last week. They did it in week 2 after slow starts in week 1. I think they do kind of balance things out a little bit. Like, I don't think it's going to be a massive AJ Brown week. So I'm gonna stick with my guns and go Goddard here. Ferguson is someone that I love. Like, I'm starting Ferguson in leagues in my flex where I'm starting Mark Andrews, or I'm starting Travis Kelce. That's how good I think he is. He's better than a lot of flex plays. But between the two, I'm going to go Dallas Goedert again. Like David mentioned, he's in an offense where he could score multiple touchdowns.
I'll put this out there. As far as last year, that's what they did. But they had Shane Steichen calling the plays, and he was just pick your poison every week. They've been a little slower this year. A lot of regression for that offense and defense. The defense it's in the 20s for all the major categories right now. And if you look at first read throws, AJ Brown is leading the league substantially for first read throws. And so they do seem to be featuring him more than doing the whole pick your poison every week. But I still can't. I can't pick Ferguson. He's Fergalicious. Still going Goddard.
So I think I am gonna go Ferguson just because Ferguson's been consistently involved. That Cowboys offense lacks a really good second option behind CeeDee Lamb. They're looking for someone to establish themselves as that young pass catcher. The Cowboys knew they needed a guy, so they went and drafted a guy, and he's been playing really well. And looking at their matchup this week, I mean, they're playing the 49ers. That's going to be tough, but Dak's going to need to get it to his receivers consistently. He's going to need a guy that he can trust. There's just so many targets in that Dallas offense. They have to go somewhere. Jake Ferguson appears to be where that they're coalescing around. Give me Ferguson. I mean, there's just too many options in Philly that could be better than Goddard, whereas Ferguson looks like the second best pass catcher there.
No, not wrong. And Dak likes to throw to the tight end position.
Yeah, Jamie, you probably could just flip a coin and you'd be well served with that.
Pull a name out of the hat, throw it out on Twitter, X.
Why?
PPR, Addison, or Rice? Rashee Rice.
Same game. I think, man, that's really tough. I mean, I know that Addison is playing a more on snaps, but Rashee Rice's like snaps are just so valuable because of the offense that he's in and how underwhelming every one of those other receivers has been. Oh man, that's so close. I'm going to say Rashee Rice. I'm going to say he scores a touchdown, and it really has to do with the matchup. Like if these guys were not playing each other, like I think that the Chiefs' defense has been sneaky good, and I think that I know that the Vikings' offense has allowed the second most passing yards in the league. So I'm going to say with the matchup, Rashee Rice, he scores a touchdown this week.
Yeah, I think I'm going Rashee Rice as well. His snap counts have been trending in the right direction for him to have a big game. Huh?
They're still not good though. You don't feel
he's
good
around
about
50%.
it.
He's a receiver.
Well, and
50%, a guy who's on the field 50% of snaps, but at 50%, he's got 7 and 5 targets his last 2 games. In week 1, he had 30% snap share, 5 targets. They're getting him the ball, and there is no clear receiving pecking order in Kansas City. I mean, at some point, they want Rashee Rice to be the guy because they're not going to keep throwing to journeyman Justin Watson. You know, this is very much an early 2000s Andy Reid offense where you're just kind of playing receiver roulette but you can't trust them as a high level option.
Right. No, that's the conundrum. And like I like I like him to score a touchdown this week, but you're also betting against him playing half of the offensive snaps. Like it's tough.
I mean, Addison was down to 58% last week. There is that. Addison dropped in his snap share and only 1 target last week. And like you said, Chiefs defense sneaky. Cousins struggles under pressure, and that's what he's going to get a heavy dose of this week.
I'm going to take Addison because PPR, but I definitely understand. Rice is definitely arrow pointing up. Addison's running behind Osborne, so it's not as clear as we thought it was. But this question below, I think I know where you guys stand. Stevenson is slated to play, but is he 100%? I'm going with Elliott. So Elliott would you start Elliott today? And also think Mac Jones will have a big day with Schuster.
I want to know, Tom, who sells you your drugs? And then give me their phone number. What are you talking about? A big day for Juju Smith-Schuster? Where are the telltale signs that this is going to happen? And I'm not hating on you, Tom. I drafted a ton of Juju Smith-Schuster. I need this dude to take off. So one, I need to know what drugs you're on, or what telltale signs you have here that this is actually going to happen.
Saints D's been really good. They're keeping teams under 20 points. I think it was 13 out of the last 14 games. Their secondary is really good. They got a decent pass rush, and they just don't let up a lot of big plays. And so I just don't see a big game for Smith-Schuster. I'm okay with. I would start Stevenson over Elliott. I'm not there yet. Stevenson's still running routes. He's still getting the dump off. Still getting passing game work. He is banged up, and unfortunately, the Saints are good against the run too. Just a really tough defense, and I just don't like New England this matchup.
I would avoid New England at all costs against the Saints. I mean, Mac Jones just looks really bad. They benched him for a little bit for Bailey Zappi last week. It doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like this is a team that's moving where they want to move as far as that goes. I'd be interested to hear what Sebastian's thoughts are. He doesn't have any thoughts yet on Stevenson because that was a late injury. And Juju hasn't even started 2 games and is sub 60% snap share in 2 games. You thought maybe he'd go there and he'd be the good slot receiver for, Mac Jones, but it hasn't been there. It hasn't been there. He hasn't been able to do it. That New England offense just looks out of sync. I would avoid Smith-Schuster and avoid that offense at all costs.
Chase Claypool's had a better season than Juju Smith-Schuster, and he was kicked off of his team.
I don't want to talk about Chase Claypool right now because the Bills front office continues to just irritate me. Receivers, and you have a guy. Yes, for the price, for a 7th round pick. How are you not doing that? How are you not trading for a guy who's a highly touted physical receiver who can stretch the field, gives you Gabe Davis insurance for a 7th round pick? You can't get that anywhere else. They need receiver help. Trent Sherfield and Deontay Hardy ain't it. They need receiver help, and they let him go to a division opponent. And this just continues. This is a fantasy show, not Adam. Why Adam hates Brandon Beane.
Mike McDaniel said he's fast, so that's why we gave a 6th round pick for him. He's fast. That's why we gave up a 6
We'll see if
for
the
him.
Bills get someone else. Maybe the person that they get won't be such a bad locker room presence, and Adam will be happy. Saquon Barkley is not expected to play per reports. This is coming from, I believe it was Schefter or Policero. It's just from around the NFL. And so question here, Cousins or Stafford, 6-point passing. Where are you going? Cousins gets Kansas City. Stafford gets
I think it's got to be Cousins still. Stafford is not throwing touchdowns. He's not throwing touchdowns. He gets Cooper Kupp back today, which is massive. Maybe that's the big shift that we're going to need to see. Some 9 and dime. Shout out the new quarterback and wide receiver podcast. But Cousins has a much higher ceiling, in my opinion, right now. Like, Stafford has not been the guy in the red zone. So I'm going to go with Cousins here. I don't love the matchup. I think it's a better, or not as great a matchup as you would think on paper. Like, I think a lot of people are expecting a lot of scoring in this Chiefs and Vikings game. It may be a little bit more low scoring than you think. I definitely see Cousins still probably throwing an interception, but I could also see him walking away with 3 passing touchdowns.
Yeah, this is just, you're flipping a coin, and maybe you're hoping Stafford. I mean, I just can't get into either of these guys on that, because they're both against good defenses. Neither of them are doing a lot to instill a whole lot of confidence, and Cousins is turnover prone against the blitz. So I think Cousins, just because he's playing a slightly worse defense. Can anyone explain
the Eagles
how
have
that
been
was
a top
unnecessary roughness on Jordan Poyer? It was a tipped ball.
Yeah.
It was a tipped ball, and he hit him in the back.
Yeah, well, I didn't like it, Adam. Okay, I got a lot of Calvin Ridley. All right, I didn't appreciate it.
I have Calvin Ridley too. I just want to know how it's unnecessary roughness when the ball was tipped. It's fair game
because this is not our grandfather's football league. I mean, this is not our grandfather's NFL. Like, it's just, dude, like, watch tape on anything from like 5 years ago. It's a different game.
Head and neck area is, I believe, what they said. Alan Lazard, Michael Wilson. I'm in a pinch with bye weeks. Full point PPR.
Michael Wilson. Yeah.
Or Alan Lazard. That was the 2.
Yeah, Alan Lazard or Michael Wilson. Ooh, that was.
I'll go Allen. I'll go back to Allen. I'll give him some love in this Broncos matchup.
Yeah, I'm going Wilson. Give me Wilson. I don't trust Alan Lazard, and I don't trust Zach Wilson. So Michael Wilson's been consistently involved for the Cardinals. And Lazard was there because he was Aaron Rodgers' best friend.
Not wrong.
I mean, 14 catches for 237 in 4 games for Michael Wilson. I mean, he's looking like a dude. It looks like the Cardinals finally found their wide receiver 2.
What is going on here?
Wow.
What in the world was that?
No, mine be on a slight delay. I'm excited.
2 really, really awkward plays. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, let's go. Let's go.
Trevor Lawrence had
you say James that like Brown. It's like you should recover the ball, but you're like, oh, what the fuck were they?
Trevor
Lawrence had like a James Brown kind of split. I thought he hurt his hip.
Trevor Lawrence went back and watched the last time the Bills and Jags played and said, I want to play like EJ Manuel today. He's inspired. He's playing inspired today. He's like, I saw EJ Manuel lay a turd burger in London. I can do that.
All right. PPR, Zay Flowers or Tank Dell?
A lot of Zay today. I'm going Tank. A lot of Zay today, though.
I mean, he's been up and down. I mean, that's the thing. He's had some involvement. He's been getting the targets. And so everybody's wondering, like, can he do something? And they're probably worried with Odell Beckham back and going up against a tough Steelers defense. You know, he has that elusiveness and he has that ability to get away after the play, whereas the Texans are going in and playing the Falcons. I mean, I like Dell here. I like Tank
Yeah,
Dell.
I like the matchup a lot more for Tank this week than last week. I think he's going to bounce back from his low production. What do you think here, Dave?
I'm sticking with Flowers on this one. I don't think Odell Beckham is much of a threat. He just doesn't look like he's right. And both quarterbacks are playing well.
No, Stroud is playing much better.
Stroud is playing better from a passing perspective,
and the fact he's a rookie. But like, if you
well,
look at
how
Lamar,
many touchdowns does Lamar have?
He's playing great this year, and he's been very efficient. Completion percentage is up.
4.
Turnovers are down.
4 passing touchdowns against 1 pick.
What does Lamar have rushing? Like total touchdowns? Does he have at least 6?
He has 8 total touchdowns.
Okay, so the extra ones help, because I was going to say, like, Stroud has 6 passing touchdowns, no interceptions in the last 3 weeks. Like, since that Ravens game, he's been immaculate.
Stroud's been playing very well. This isn't an anti-CJ Stroud thing. This is just Zay Flowers has that elusiveness. He has that speed. He has the athleticism, which is really going to help him when the play breaks down, which is where Lamar Jackson's going to make some of his biggest plays. I still like Tank Dell just because he's a little more consistently involved, and I don't think that the Texans will go away from running the ball. God,
I mean, Tank Dell's a downfield dime though. Like, Flowers, he might have some broken plays, but you're just not seeing that Baltimore Ravens offense just toss the ball down the field like they said they were going to do. That's not the offense the offense that was promised has not been delivered. That's the way I should word it. So I like Dell because of that. Like, he's going to be a downfield threat. That offense is pushing the ball down the field. They can't run the ball for shit, so they just have to pass a lot. I love it. Give me some Tank.
Oh, that goes to your question right here. Pierce or Addison?
Addison.
Neither of them. Addison.
I'm not upset starting Addison. Damian Pierce has looked so bad. I mean, he had 81 yards last week. For the first time, he crossed the 50-yard mark. Before that, it had been 31, 31, 38. And he did get a little bit involved in the passing game, but I don't think that Damian Pierce is showing that he can do it. I don't think he's anything more than just another guy for the Texans. Give me Addison, who has that high upside potential, has that ceiling, has that ability to make big things happen.
Yeah, and to keep an eye on Pierce, when the offensive line starts to get healthier, that could be someone you could buy low on right now.
Yeah,
Pierce is getting hit. He's at like 0.5 yards before contact. DeAndre Swift is like 3 yards before contact. Like, an offensive line really matters, and they're playing without 4 of their starters. I believe they get 1 starter back today, but he's getting hit behind the line of scrimmage and has no chance. Even though I'm not a big Pierce fan, it's just something that everyone needs to consider.
And also, it just takes us into consideration of how well Stroud and that passing offense has been. Like, there is no time. He is under duress, and he's playing very efficiently. Like, you got to respect for what they're doing there. I saw someone mention that Jameson Williams is active in the chat. He's only going to play like 20 to 30 snaps probably. Just,
Yeah.
He's not getting a full work.
I'm definitely not going in on him. I think Josh Reynolds is a sneaky play, DFS, or if you're in a real pinch. I like Josh Reynolds. He's got connection with Goff. He's been playing all year. Remember, when someone's suspended, they're away from the team. And so they're not practicing. They're not with the team developing chemistry. Anyone that's throwing Jameson Williams in there is pretty risky.
I think that Khalif Raymond is also a safe start this week with Amon-Ra out. They're going to need to find the ball downfield to somebody, and Khalif Raymond likes to have some breakout plays. Speaking of breakout plays, Adam, turn around.
I got it on the lower screen. I'm just delayed a second.
Oh yeah. Give her a second.
Let's go. Let's go, boys.
The bigger news:
I was saying
Jahmyr Gibbs and Amon-Ra St. Brown are out.
Yeah, so Jahmyr Gibbs being out too. I don't know if I'm going to dig into Craig Reynolds. I think it's just another 32 touches for David Montgomery. I mean,
Sam Laporta, you might be able to flex him. He's moved up my tight end rankings. I got him at tight end 4 this week. It's it's a rough landscape out there, and he's getting very consistent work. And now with Amon-Ra St. Brown and Gibbs out, it has to be a little bit more Laporta.
And with Josh Reynolds, I wouldn't be too concerned. He was listed as questionable this week, but he did practice in full on Friday. And I think they even kept the tag on him despite him being a full participant. So I think he should be fine. He was, like I said, he was a full go on Friday, but I wouldn't be too worried about that tag if that's holding you back, or you don't want to start a guy with a Q next to his name. Oh my God, Gabe Davis. What a bastard. Juwan Johnson, inactive. Start Jimmy Graham, boys. It's another Jimmy Graham week.
No, it's a Foster Moreau week. It's
no.
a Foster Moreau week.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I know. We don't want it to be, but it definitely is. Foster Moreau is God, Gabe Davis. I just saw them.
I know. That was fucking terrible.
That
was awful.
Catch that ball. He needs to catch that.
Was so bad.
Not even a question.
I know. That's why I always, if I'm going to bet the over for Gabe Davis, it's targets, not catches.
Or in any time. Yeah.
Yeah. So Pickett or Bryce Young, how y'all feeling about that? I mean, this is
Bryce.
This is the reality. You might be staring in the face.
Zach
I'm
Wilson,
going Bryce.
I said it last week, Adam.
I don't love it, but I'll take Bryce.
It might be Zach Wilson, actually. I mean, he's playing that bad Denver defense.
Yeah, Wilson did look good up against the Chiefs, too.
I don't like taking quarterbacks. They're coming into the game injured. He's already Pickett does have some mobility, but he's already been taking a lot of hits. He holds the ball a little too long. You could easily see him get hurt in this game. I'm not risking it with Pickett out there. I did not expect him to play. Now he's going to try to tough it out. No thanks. I'll take Young.
Yeah, I mean, Bryce Young, just, if he can get back to that week 1 form, that'd be really good, because he was good in week 1 and he was okay in week 2, and then he got banged up. It's just, how do you feel about him coming back from injury? They just have
to draw him upright. I mean, they cannot leave him under the gun today. Like, this secondary for the Lions, he can throw on these guys. They just need to set it up correctly. Like, they need to get him rolling out, get him into space, and don't let him sit under the gun under this pass rush. And I've seen that a few times where, they're really, drawing him up in very vanilla style type of play calling, where they're just looking for that one quick read to Adam Thielen, or, kid holds it too long and he's on his back. I think he's in a good position, but it really just depends on how they draw him up this week.
A few guys I want to mention that, are probably in that flex bottom tier running back conversation. How do you feel about Gus Edwards? How do you feel about Jaleel McLaughlin? It sounds like Javonte Williams will not play. It's a later game, so we probably won't know until about 3 o'clock, but people are going to decide beforehand. I was listening to Deepak Chauhan. I've not heard what Sebastian has to say on it, but Deepak was saying that you should not expect Javonte Williams to play because of the coming off the ACL injury. He's got a weak hip, which means you could have a potential for a catastrophic knee injury, re-injure the knee, injure the hip, and he's looking good coming back, but you don't want something that's going to set you back tremendously. And McLaughlin's looked a lot better than Pirine. And this offense needs some juice, and I could see them going with the younger back to try to get a spark.
Yeah, I'd start McLaughlin, no problem this week. I mean, if it's between the two, I'd probably go with McLaughlin. He's just got a little bit more of a jump, gets involved in the passing game, as we saw last week. And P. Ryan has not been impressive on the Broncos thus far. I have no problem starting him. Gus Edwards, same thing in a vacuum. No problem really toting him out, but it depends on your options.
Yeah,
there are better options than Gus still.
Yeah, go with McLaughlin. He's got the upside. He has the clear path to a full workload, and he doesn't have Lamar Jackson working to take his rushing load, and he doesn't have Zay Flowers also getting work in the rushing game. The Ravens just have so many guys they want to get involved week in and week out. It really feels like you need to stick with McLaughlin. Yeah, okay, back to that Pickett versus Young question. Bad. It's Bryce Young all day now, or Zach Wilson. You might go Zach Wilson. That would probably be the move.
Yeah, the Steelers
this probably also co-signs. This also co-signs probably some Pickens starts as well.
Yeah, I mean, it just feels like the Steelers are tanking right now.
You could see some.
I
Darnell
can't ever believe
Washington.
that's a thing for the Steelers or Mike Tomlin.
No.
I don't know about tanking.
You could see some Darnell Washington today. I know people are going to be interested in him. Especially his blocking will get him on the field because they're going to need some extra help. So their inactives are Mason Rudolph, their punter, Presley Harvin, Godwin Ekwembike, Dan Moore, James Williams, Pat Freiermuth, and DeMarvin Leal for all the Steeler fans out there. And Saquon's officially out. Daniel Bellinger is playing. The Giants are also out their left tackle, Andrew Thomas. That's been a big key to this offense. Their left tackle's been out the whole year, and he's the best player on offense after Saquon. I don't have any other. Ramondre's playing.
Yeah, Gibbs and Amon-Ra are out officially. So maybe Craig Reynolds, maybe Bam Knight, definitely David Montgomery, and then Josh Reynolds.
Call. Bam Knight is a nice call there.
And then maybe, in the receiving game, Khalif Raymond or, Josh Reynolds should find their way into your flexes if you need a guy. Meanwhile, Trevor Lawrence is struggling to throw over the Bills' defense. Another batted pass there.
Still winning. This game sucks. This game sucks. Can I just say?
They took inspiration.
Terrible.
They took inspiration from the last Bills-Jags London game.
Good
and said,
God.
we can play worse than that.
No, they did. They really went to task.
I take back that second that I said that this game was actually a good game and it was looking like it was going to be higher scoring.
I mean, it could still. There's still a
downhill ever since.
This is awful.
The Jags were on like the 10-yard line, about to go in for at least 3 points, and
get him.
Bad ever since.
Grr.
All right, on to this.
How
Romeo
are the
Doubs
Houston
and Christian
Dogs
Watson
today? What
question.
the fuck?
Yeah, so Christian Watson, he saw an increase in snaps. Still was below 50%, but he gets 10 games off before the next game. Actually, I think it's 11 because they're playing on a Monday night. You get the Raiders, which is a pretty solid matchup for both players. Are you comfortable playing both? And if you had to pick one, which 1.5 PPR?
I'm sorry, what were the choices again? Sorry.
Romeo Doubs or Christian Watson, 0.5 PPR. Would you play both? And if you had to choose, which one?
Dobbs. Only Dobbs. I don't want to play both, just Dobbs.
Yeah, I don't want to play Christian Watson given that he only had a 46% snap share in 4 targets. Dobbs is coming off of back-to-back double-digit target games. It's clear they want him involved. It's clear they want to have him be the guy. So I think you need to stick there with Dobbs until Watson is back 100%.
Yeah, I would flex Watson. I would play Dobbs over Watson. I'm okay with throwing Watson in there. I do think that was a warm-up game. Check him out, see how he is. I think you see the increased snaps and everything this week, and I just love the matchup. I think that Jordan Love is a top 10 play this week, and I think you're going to see both those guys involved. I don't know if Musgrave is injured or not, but I thought he was questionable.
He was questionable. I wouldn't start him regardless.
Stafford, Goff, Danny Dimes.
Goff.
Yep, I got it. Goff. I got it. Goff, Dimes, Stafford.
Yeah, I mean, I just think Goff has been playing. He hasn't been lighting the world on fire, but he's been good. 6 touchdowns through 4 weeks, taking care of the ball, complete passes. It is going to be interesting to see if he can achieve at a high level without his number 1 receiver on the field. But I think you got to stick with Goff just because he's been the most consistent out of those guys. I like Stafford with cutback, but I think you got to stick with Goff. And of course, the Bills have another injury. Good God.
My concern with Jones is he's going to wipe away all of his rushing upside with turnovers. Miami Dolphins are going to get up hot. They're going to get up on the Giants, which is going to force passing. They cannot pass block. And that's just going to run into some problems. I mean, he was pretty efficient the first half last week, and then they got behind and fell apart. And so And so I'm just worried about that. And so I think a safer play would be, to go with Stafford. Dimes gives you the upside because of the rushing. You could, run one in or something like that. And then, of course, when they're passing, you're hoping for some scrambling. But Goff is my pick. All right. The next question would be my running backs are a mess. Jalen Warren, Matt Breida, Gus Edwards, or Tyler Algier.
How many?
Pick one. I'm not sure if Aaron Jones is going to play.
All right, one more time. Gus, Matt Breida, who else?
Jalen Warren and Tyler Algier.
So take those two out.
Really?
And then yeah.
I mean, Algier's been so consistently involved all season. I
don't trust the offense to score enough points.
He was kind of wiped out last week.
I don't trust the Falcons to put up a lot of points, period. Like, they just look bad. Houston, I think, is gonna pummel them today, personally.
Yeah.
I have it Gus Edwards, Breida, and then I have Warren and then Algier. Algier did see a decrease in snap counts and usage last week. Bijan is fully taking that backfield over.
Yeah.
I'll go with the same order, really. I mean, it's not pretty at all. So
that's
Gus, Breida, Warren, Algier.
You might go after DeMarcado in Arizona. He's been consistently involved. He's trending upwards, and I feel like it's more likely that he gets involved in a big way before any of those other guys get involved.
Here, this is a sad question. Ferguson, do I drop Kyle Pitts for Ferguson, Conklin, or Higbee?
No, but you do drop somebody for Jake Ferguson. You do drop somebody for Jake Ferguson.
That's the answer, exactly.
So hold Pitts, find a way to get Fergie on the roster.
That's a very angry, spiteful move to make.
Marvin Mims or Sky Moore?
Marvin Mims.
Yeah.
PPR.
Yeah, Marvin Mims has been more consistently involved. Sky Moore is still just that every once in a while, almost gadget type player out of Kansas City. Mm-hmm. Go with Mims. The offense is worse, but he's been involved. He's been heavily involved, and he looks like a guy they want to keep involved moving forward. And again, we talked about it a little bit last week. I wouldn't be surprised to see Denver move either Judy or Sutton at the deadline, before the deadline here, to get some. They need assets. And Marvin Mims feels like a guy.
Agreed.
That's an interesting.
And if your league has return yards, that makes Mims a smash.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, Mims he's a guy who they want to get the ball in his hands. They want to let him make plays. So you want those guys on your fantasy roster as often as possible.
You got a strategery question here. Do you play Burrow because he's playing against Chase and Boyd, or you go with Richardson?
I go with Burrow. I'm not going to overreact. They say he's getting better. They say he's healthier. In these games where he hasn't been able to throw for like over 45 attempts or over 40 attempts, it's been because his opponent has been running the ball, a la Cleveland, a la, I think the Ravens as well. So when those teams have ran the ball really well against him, he hasn't been able to get up that high volume. He's a guy that throws 45, 50 plus passing attempts. I'm not diverting away to Anthony Richardson for Joe Burrow. I won't do it.
Go ahead.
I'm going to go Anthony Richardson here just because they want to run him 10 times a game. They want to run him around the goal line. They want him involved, and they want him with the ball in his hands. At the end of the day, a hobbled Joe Burrow who can't push the ball down the field for whatever reason right now, whether it's offense, whether it's injury, he's not that guy. He's not valuable because he just has nothing added with his legs. So 10 rushes a game from Anthony Richardson cancels out any additional passing volume from Joe Burrow. Give me Richardson.
You're not worried about the Titans defense today?
No, not really, because the Titans have kind of fallen off, and all it takes is one or two good runs from Anthony Richardson, and all of a sudden he's outscoring Joe Burrow easily. Give me Richardson. The upside is too high there with him.
Yeah, this is not very close to me. I had Joe Burrow as a sit last week. He was my sit of the week. And this week I have him as sit as well. I know he's getting a little healthier. He has no T. Higgins today. But like Adam said, he just can't push the ball down the field. And unless he scores 4 touchdowns, I don't see how he outscores Anthony Richardson. I got him outside my top 12. Richardson to 7.
Ooh. Got Woods or Raymond. It's tough. It's tough. I like Robert Woods this week, but I think with Amon-Ra out, even Reynolds a little bit banged up, even though he practiced in full, I think I'll go Raymond here.
Yeah. To your point
Very
about
close.
the return yards, if they have return yards, Raymond will return and Woods won't.
There you go.
Yeah, give me Raymond just because Woods is, the veteran guy keeping those young guys, Collins, Dell, and Mechie settled. Give me Raymond. He's got the clearer path to the usage this week.
This is another humble brag, but pick one: Montgomery, A-Chain, or Breece Hall. Standard scoring.
It's Montgomery.
Is it? Breece has the soft Broncos defense this week.
No, he does. But Dalvin Cook is not unavailable. He's still going to do something. He's going to play some role this week. He could even steal a touchdown. Like Breece could have a great game, and Dalvin Cook steals a touchdown. Montgomery with no Gibbs.
It's a harder question than I thought. And I have them both inside my top 8 this week. It's hard to not start any of those guys. So try to find a way to squeeze them both in the lineup.
Yeah, if possible, I would like both of them in my lineup. I would rather have, unless I'm really stacked up top, which is possible. Those aren't necessarily guys who are going to be, insanely expensive during draft season to go and get. So, yeah, but I do like Breece Hall still. I would still like Breece Hall.
Yeah, I have Breece Hall above Montgomery, but it's super close. It's just 2 spots, and I don't do standard. So I haven't looked at my standard rankings because I don't play in those leagues. This one's a little tougher. Full point PPR: Cortland Sutton, DeAndre Hopkins, or Jacoby Myers. Jimmy Garoppolo is cleared to play on Monday.
So Cortland Sutton, Jacoby Myers, and who?
Hopkins.
Oh, 1 or 2. Pick 1 or 2.
Pick 1.
God. Is the answer Hopkins?
I don't think so. I think the answer.
I don't know. Oh, I don't know. I don't like those. I don't like any of those.
I'm going to go with Myers.
Wow.
Cortland Sutton gets the Sauce treatment. I don't think he's going to have a good game. I don't think he can create any separation on Sauce. And then you have DeAndre Hopkins. Hopkins is going to get some volume, which I like. But Myers, when he's played, has gotten 8+ targets with Jimmy Garoppolo every game.
Yeah.
And he's getting targeted in the red zone.
What's up with Devontae? Is he a go?
Shoulder questionable.
But did he do we know if he practiced yesterday?
Limited.
He's not going to play. I don't like this. I'm still going to say Hopkins. I'm going to say he scores a touchdown this week. He finds the end zone, and that's going to be the difference maker here.
I think I need
God,
to go.
I don't even believe it saying it, like hearing it come out of my mouth. God.
I think Hopkins is the guy I know I'm sitting. I think it's going to be Sutton or Myers. And I know that sounds crazy, but Sutton and Hopkins are even on yards for the season. Hopkins has fewer receptions, and Sutton has 3 touchdowns, and Myers has 2 touchdowns and only 17 less yards, and he missed a game.
Yeah.
I think it's Myers or Sutton. And
any other week, I'd go with Sutton. Like I like the Jets defense, period, not just Sauce. Like I think they are going to create a problem for Denver today. So literally any other week, it's an easy pick of Sutton for me. I don't love Myers. Myers has what appears to be upside with Jimmy Garoppolo, and with Devontae Adams, you would think that that would get better. I think it actually makes it worse, in my opinion. I think Adams there not being able to shield Myers is what scares me, and that's what is keeping me off of him. So again, I don't love it. I do not love picking Hopkins here, but again, I'm going to say he finds the end zone this week. He's got to get going. Like they got to try to get him going in some way, shape, or form other than just targets. So That's going to be the difference maker for me.
My vote might have pushed things a little bit, but I put Myers, and I got 41% Myers, 38% Sutton, and then the rest, I think it was 20% left, went to or 20% went to Sutton, 38% to Hopkins. So it was Myers.
Yeah. Interesting quarterback question here. Zach Wilson available. Are you dropping Daniel Jones for Zach Wilson this week?
Probably not. I mean, if it's a single QB league, you probably get away with it, right? Like Dan Jones would be available again, but it also depends on your record. Like if you're behind the needle, if you're 1-3, all right, cool, yeah, go ahead, no worries. Like no one's gonna shame you, you know what I mean? But if you're in a competitive position and you're trying to make this move, I just don't agree with it. I think rest of season Dan Jones will still have more value.
Yeah, I mean, it's just Daniel Jones has looked so bad outside of that Arizona game, but he's played really good teams. But now he's playing the Dolphins, and the Dolphins seem like they're getting healthy. So I think I'm sticking with Daniel Jones, but again, it depends, because you could talk me into Zach Wilson and the Jets against a bad Broncos defense.
Yeah, it just depends.
If I have somebody else on my roster that I can drop, or someone I can slot into the IR slot and open up a slot, I would love to pick up Zach Wilson this week, just because I think there is a chance that he kind of starts to get it together here against the softer part of the Jets schedule.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason I would do this move right here is so Danny Dimes doesn't screw me twice today. Because I'm already gonna have to watch the Giants lose to Miami. I don't need to see my fantasy team lose because of it. But I'm sticking with Dimes. They should get Saquon and Andrew Thomas back next week. I know it's Buffalo, but after that, the schedule gets a lot better, and you're not going to want Zach Wilson on your team over Dimes the rest of the season.
Yeah. So
if you need to buy a win, like I don't hate it for this week. Like again, if you're 1-3, if you're 0-4, you need a dub. Like, hey, make moves, get aggressive, live free.
It was earlier in the week, and I just was like looking what the QB rankings were, because I was really just trying to figure out who was on a bye. And DraftKings had Zach Wilson above Joe Burrow.
Who has what was that one more time?
They had Zach Wilson above Joe Burrow. They also had Joe Burrow.
That's disgusting.
They had Joe Burrow at QB21, by the way.
The disrespect, cue the Joe Buck, the Randy Moss.
The disrespect. Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
My ranking's probably disrespectful. I got him at 17, I think. I'm really struggling, man.
What is wrong with Trevor Lawrence, bro? Why can Buddy not hold on to the ball?
He's just carrying it around like it's
like it's his purse, man. Like this, like I get it, you're in Europe, but yeah, man bags aren't a thing here. Why are you trying to bring your man bag to London? What in the world? Throw it away,
traffic,
son.
Man, 2 hands in traffic.
Have you ever watched Tom Brady play ever? Like, have you ever watched a single film of like the greatest quarterback to ever play? And what he might do in that scenario? Yeah, freaking idiot. Oh my Lord.
Look at this. He did tuck it, but one hand.
Get it out, bro. Throw it out of bounds, pal. What are you doing? And then he's just like, oh, let me up. Let me up.
Well,
you love to see it. You really love to see it.
Diggs was exploding on the sideline.
Your team needs to score some points, pal.
Yeah, I know they do.
Let's get out of the doghouse here.
Stephon Diggs is going to be big on this drive. So
yeah, you're going to see a big play to Diggs here soon, because he just broke a tablet.
Yeah.
He just broke a tablet?
He didn't actually. He probably didn't break it because they got those big old bumpers on him.
He broke that. The way he.
Do you think they charge the players for those? Do you think like you get like a check?
Spiked it. Like it was a Gronk spike. He was pissed.
The more tablets my team breaks in a year because they know they can play better and they're not, I'm good with it. Everyone, this goes back to the Dorsey smashing the tablet last year in the box. Everybody like dumping on him for that. No, give me that 10 out of 10. Give me the guy who cares enough to just destroy stuff when his $50 million quarterback throws a dirt ball on a must throw play.
Well, it's funny. I always think back to like Justin Fields, where he looks down at the tablet, like he's sitting down on like the metal bench, and he looks down at it, and then he looks up and just goes, "Oh my god!" It's like, what did I just do?
Any final thoughts for the week, boys? Because we got an exciting wrap up to the London games and lineups to set. And over on the main sports gambling podcast feed, Sean and Kramer are getting started with their pregame show. So make sure everybody jump over there and watch that. Any parting thoughts for you guys today?
The Bills' offense needs to score points.
Yes, they do.
As the little Giants would say, God help us.
All right. Thank you for joining us this weekend for the SGPN Fantasy Lounge. We will see you next week at 11 a.m. Make sure to jump over to the main sports gambling podcast feed to join Kramer and Sean as they get your week started with some betting tips. All right. Let it ride, y'all.
Peace.
Good luck this week.